are as ferocious as the dunks or bangouts Richard and Channing throw down from time to time, and their softness can't even be matched. Homage has been turning back the clock with throwback tees for years. From the NBA to the Ultimate Warrior, you know, the tee LeBron wore on the plane after leading the Cavs, to its first title the city had seen in over 50 years. Well, Homage tells the stories of triumph, individualism, and hustle, preserving the old school and creating new legacies. Go to homage.com, that's HOMAGE, and pay homage with your favorite tee. Be sure to check out the NBA Jam tees and one exclusively made for me and you. We're road tripping at homage.com.
Cheers. I thought you were like, we got to finish it or something.
No, I had
And
extra
with
glass.
that, we welcome you into another edition of Road Trippin'. I'm your host, Allie Clifton. And just to set the scene for those who are tuning in and listening, we are at the 2017 NBA NHL Seminar, which is located at the beautiful Terranea Resort here in Palos Verdes. And so with that, we've got a couple of guests that maybe some of our listeners know, maybe they don't, maybe they need to know a little bit more of.
Yeah.
So to my left is the beautiful Sarah Kustok, analyst with the Brooklyn Nets. Richard Jefferson is here alongside. You've heard his voice.
You're not going to say I'm beautiful too. I don't.
No.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Well, I wonder if either of you guys are going to get beautiful.
No, I'm just going to wait. You can do me next.
Richard, you do the honor. Should we edit that? Richard. I got you.
We're not editing any of that. It's going to see. This is why you guys drink wine. This is why the minute you do, it just makes it so much more fun.
Richard, you got your guess.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. So to my left, Stanford alum. Yeah, whatever.
The beautiful.
The beautiful. Brevin Knight. How you doing, Brev?
I'm great.
Good. You were about to take a drink before you said. That's good.
Nice. Lives good. You guys live good in Cleveland. We got to step up our game.
Yeah. And one more person, my favorite of all time, Marques Johnson.
Can you
Raymond.
get proper? Yeah.
What? Yeah, Raymond. Yeah, she's never seen White Man Can't Jump. No. Yes.
My claim to fame.
Yeah, yes. We're going to have to, again, don't worry. We have a whole episode.
Wait, honestly?
Okay, if you haven't.
Okay, so some of the people some of the newer listeners out there, we did an episode not too long ago called "Shit Allie Hasn't Seen," and surprisingly, it could have been an episode that lasted for 4 days, but we narrowed it down to about an hour and 15. So yes, Allie hasn't seen a lot of movies. So real quick, I'm gonna give you guys a short story. So it's not going to be that short. I was asked to do a monologue, and so I was trying to pick between monologues because they want me to do, for The Ringer, they wanted me to do like a monologue from a movie. So I was trying to pick one, and I discussed it with Allie. I was like, well, I'm thinking about doing the Raymond scene from White Man Can't Jump. And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, wait, you've never seen White Man Can't Jump? And I was like, you know this is Marques Johnson. She was like, what? And so I sent her the YouTube clip, and she was like, no way. And the best part about it is, and in her defense, I was going through college. You did so many of our Arizona games when I was at school. And I did not know until I think I saw you in the NBA, and I was doing something, and somebody told me, as soon as they saw you, they did the whole Raymond thing. And I was like, why'd you do that? They're like, you know that's Raymond from White Man. And I was like,
yeah.
No, I was like, he did every one of my games in college. That was my favorite movie, and I had no idea. Mainly because you look like you were 7 feet tall next to Wesley Snipes. And you, and so when I saw you and you were like the same size as me, it didn't really equate. But yeah, Allie hasn't seen it.
Well, every time I see, a couple of things, every time I see Isaiah Thomas, he's like, Raymond, is that you? That's all he says to me every Celtic game. And then the other thing, I spoke at a banquet for Grant Hill when he was a senior and was up for the Wooden Award. This is how long ago that was. And I asked everybody in the room, did they have any idea, all the young people, any idea what I did as a basketball player? They're kind of looking at me like, nah. So anybody remember me as Raymond from White Man Can't Jump? And they just stood up and applauded. Yeah. That's kind of my claim to fame with the younger generation.
No, and
except for Allie.
And it's still going. Allie still hasn't seen it.
Allie's too young.
Thank you.
It's because Allie's too young.
But it's still
out of her
it's an iconic
But I
basketball
don't watch
movie.
movies.
There's still no excuse. We've been trying to find excuses for you in the last year.
With that said, since I didn't realize that, what drew you into entertainment?
I've been acting since, about 11 or 12 years old in junior high school, majored in theater arts at UCLA, started out in poli-sci, but we had to read like 3 books a month, and that was way too many. And so I matriculated over to the theater arts department, and it's just something that's always been a real passion. Still, I'm writing and producing movies and doing stuff now that hopefully will continue. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
All good.
And you're still Raymond.
Trying to get LeBron to read the script of mine called Stentorians about integrating the fire department in L.A. back in 1956. So when you talk to LeBron, make sure you... I mentioned it to him at UCLA.
You can give him a shout out on this.
This is literally his company. So
there you
I think they have people to make sure that we don't do anything too stupid, and they've been failing miserably.
Right.
So, but can just for the kids out there, can I just get Is that you, Raymond? Just one time. Come on, just give it to me. Nah, this ain't me.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. That's all I need.
Oh, cute.
So, Brev, how you doing, man?
Hey, listen, I live a great life.
You do. We were talking about how great of a life you lead earlier. So,
Call games, play golf.
And that's it. That's it.
I don't make any qualms about it. I tell my broadcast agent, you don't have to call me in the summer. Don't ask me to do anything because I do nothing in the summer.
Well, so I kind of followed your career because your senior year was, what year was that? 96? 97. So that was the year Arizona won the national championship. Did you guys win the conference that year?
No, we did.
Where'd you go? Second?
We were second.
Second in the conference. And so I kind of watched your career play against Mike Bibby, play against
he wouldn't
Miles
guard
Simon.
Me.
Yeah,
I told him I was very upset about that. He would never guard me.
He didn't want that action. He didn't want that action when I think you guys got to the pros.
It really pissed me off because he came into the Pac-10 as supposed to be in
You almost said 12.
I almost did.
It's the 10. It's okay.
The 10. And he was supposed to be the man. As a freshman, he was supposed to be the best point guard in the Pac-10. And the first game that we meet him, I'm hyped, ready.
Yeah.
And I'm being guarded by Michael Dickerson.
That's tough because Mike
was a big defender, but I was going to defend Bibby on the other end.
Yeah, no, and they finished 5th in the Pac-10 that year. It was, they talked a lot about it mainly because they finished 5th and then ended up going on to win a national championship. But you get drafted. I see you. I go to Arizona. I think you kind of known because Stanford was really, really good for a few years. So I have an idea. You watch those Stanford battles between the Collins twins, Casey Jacobson, Mark Madsen. You guys were a force. I don't know what the hell has happened since, but you guys were really good there for a stretch.
Hey, lay off my boys.
No. And so, one of the things I want to talk about, and I've always kind of admired from you, is the transition that you made straight from playing and being a notable player on multiple teams and just being kind of a heady point guard straight into broadcasting, like without skipping a beat. I swear to God, I saw you in a uniform, and then the very next year I saw you in a suit, and I was like, what are you doing? It's like, yeah, I'm done. Well, you told me earlier off mic that you were talking to your wife. Like, tell me about that timeline, that date.
Well, it was, so you guys know that when the season's over, we all take time off. Usually right around June, July, we start doing a little bit of something. And June came around, there was nothing. July came around, there was nothing. August hit, and now my wife's like, it's about time to start getting back to it.
Get out of here.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly right. It's time for you to start getting ready.
You just going to keep playing golf?
Right.
What's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
So it got to that point, and I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
Memphis called and said, we would like for you to come work out. And I said, listen, I've been playing this game for 12 years. If you don't know what I do right now, or you don't need what I do, then it's just not there. And so for me, it was time to be done. And I think for a lot of people, basketball is your entire life. It wasn't your entire life, so I thought it was fine for you to make a transition. You are finding your voice and doing something else, and a lot of times people just get pigeonholed into, I got to keep doing this because it's all I want to do. Mm-hmm. It wasn't all I wanted to do, and so I was fine to be done playing, and I was talking earlier, and Mike said that he still plays in the summer up and down, and I'm like, I haven't played basketball in 9 years, and I don't, except playing with my son's team, where I feel like I can dominate sixth graders.
Mm-hmm. Does the height difference bother you that they're so much taller than you? They're taller than
That's
you?
the bad part. Is I have 4 kids on my team taller than me, and so even when I go play in the post, I'm still not the big guy on the team. So it's times I've gotten older, but I think I've gotten shorter.
What happens?
Yeah, but there's a lot to be said, too, I know you said 12 years is enough, but I respect a guy like you that's played, what are you in?
17,
18, 19,
17.
What are you,
Just
17 years.
yeah.
Richard, how old are you?
I am 37 years old.
But a
struggles.
teammate of mine, Cedric Maxwell, works for the Celtics now. He used to always talk about they're going to have to tear this jersey off me. You know, they're going to come back here, give me the uniform, Mr. Maxwell. Make them tear it off you, man. Play as long as you feel like you can produce and be
One
a
more
productive
year.
player.
One more year, basically. Well, no,
That's what you say. Every year it becomes
every year, one more
year.
And it's, again, a lot of it has to do, I remember when I first got to Cleveland and Derek Millender, our strength and conditioning coach, he wanted to do all these tests, right? And he was like, okay, we need to do a jumping test, we need to do a biomechanic test, we need to do all blah, blah. And I looked at him and I was like, no. And he was confused. He's like, but Richard, like, if something happens, we need to know a before and after. I'm like, look, if this shit breaks down, it's done. Like there is no 9-month rehab and coming back. Like when this is done, I'm done. And hey, I had a great run. And so, you know, you're right. You're going to do it as long as you possibly can. And one of the things that from guys that I respected, you know, you, Eddie Johnson over there, I've had so many guys just come up to me and just like, when they see like an older player towards the end, keep going. Just do it till you can't do it anymore. Because I don't really see a big 3 in my future. I can't go to the big 3 league, and I can't do that.
You can be a player coach. No,
yeah, I was actually impressed with how good the league did and how impressive the quality was, considering that it seemed like it was like a last minute thing, but it still is not for me.
Total Wine & More, can I help you?
I have a press release here from Total Wine & More.
Yes?
And I need to verify some information. I'm what you call a fact checker.
Sure thing.
Okay, it says here that Total Wine & More has over 8,000 different wines. Now that's clearly a typo.
No, it's a fact.
8,000 wines?
2,500 beers, 3,000 spirits.
Now we'll come back to that. Now, here it says you have unbeatable prices.
That's right.
And yet it claims you have wide, uncluttered aisles, quick checkout, and associates who are trained to help customers make sure they always choose the right bottle, whatever the occasion. Now, that's what we call the full Pinocchio. So which is it?
Which is which?
Are you a low-price superstore or a wine boutique?
Well, both.
Really?
Really.
Okay, last question. Where are you located?
Now open in Arboretum, Sunset Valley, and Lakeline. Shop online at TotalWine.com. Always the right bottle.
To bring you in, Sarah, everyone in here obviously is aware, but for our listeners, you've been on the sideline for quite some time, and you stepped into the booth, and you're an analyst. You're a female analyst, which in itself is obviously an amazing accomplishment. And but now, as you are fully transitioning from the sideline to the booth as an analyst, what have you noticed in the last 3 years, kind of doing both? What are you looking forward to?
I'm psyched. I get to call a game that Richard's playing in.
Oh my God, I know, right?
RJ?
It's going to make me nervous. I'm going to be really honest.
I am. I may heckle you.
As you should.
I'll press my cough button and heckle you as you're running down the floor. No, it's incredible. Trying to figure out the transitioning. I mean, I had went to grad school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was a math nerd. I wanted to get into business. I was going to go into like accounting, finance, but I wanted to stay around the game, and I think that's what drew me to TV. And so the opportunity to call games, and you talked about it, like it's not work. It's a dream to get to do. And you talk about being a female with it. I think I don't always love the attention on that. Like I just want to show up and do my job, and be a part of a team. And I think that's what our great producer, Frank DeGrace, and all the rest, it's an opportunity to still be a part of a team and have that adrenaline rush. And it's an incredible thing.
Yeah, no, and I'm very connected to the Nets, unfortunately still, just because they're my guy.
Fortunately.
Fortunately, no. But no, I'm just saying more, when I use the term unfortunately, it's more of just because, you know, it didn't end well, and so, but just no matter what, I'm always connected with them. And I mean end well from like the team. You get traded, and that's part of the business, and we all understand that. But it was like no matter what, everywhere I go, it's people are just like, loved you on the Nets days. Like, thanks, I've played 12 years since then. Appreciate that. Awesome. But cool. Glad you guys enjoyed that. But no, I just, to piggyback on what Allie said, I think, the opportunity to transition into another part of the game, whether it's playing into coaching or broadcasting or going sideline to calling the game, like those opportunities are such challenges, and I think as competitors we all embrace the challenge and the competitiveness of doing something new and trying to succeed. And so that's impressive to take on the challenge. But you said that you don't really like the attention that being a female brings. Like, well, why? I think it's a positive attention.
What I love is for young girls, anyone, young boys, to not, and I think it's changed, like I think it's changing, but to not see that as there's a woman calling an NBA game. I like people to be judged on, are they good? Do they know the game? Do they understand it? Are they able to call it in a way that helps teach the viewers? And so that I love, and I love the next generation growing up not thinking it's a big deal. But on the same token, I think it's awesome. Yeah. And I do. I love the opportunity to step into those roles, and so many different people are doing things that may be outside the norm or outside their comfort zones, and that's all about challenging yourself and growing.
Is there an added layer of pressure just because?
I think there's an added level of I think there's an added level of critique. And I think that's a different. I think you're perceived differently, and you're judged differently, and you're going to have an extra
glass of wine. Everyone's laughing right now because I'm pouring more wine for the group. That's just part. I just want everyone here to get the full. Brevin, if you don't give me your.
Brevin's not having this.
If you don't give me, I'm just saying I want everyone to get the full experience, right? That's it.
I'm a apple martini guy.
You know what? That's the Stanford in you.
It's a little.
That's the Stanford in you. I can see
Exactly.
that. An apple martini. Yeah.
But Marques, I think there is.
Yeah.
But I like that. I enjoy that. I think any of us who have played anything and have competed in our athlete, you like that. You like some pressure. You like expectations to be high, and that's what makes you try and be better.
But you also got to make sure though that you let people know this is a tough job. Not easy. This is. You got to read.
Think about the preparation, and that's why I love this opportunity, because I'll watch game. Allie's probably not watching movies because she's watching games. Yeah. Game film.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. That's what
sounds about right.
She's prepping. She's watching. They're going to play the Grizzlies.
What's
I got to turn this on.
That you're watching film on? Synergy.
Synergy.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that's it. But synergy. But you do, and you can break things, and that it's not an easy job.
Well, that's why I tell everybody that, because there's a lot of people out there think that they can do it.
They can jump in and do it.
Yeah, like Vince Carter. He always every year he's in Memphis, he wanted to continue to come and try to talk with us, not let Vince know you're playing, I'm talking, and you continue to play.
Well, but that's part of the reason why I do a podcast and drink, because I don't have to do any prep. I don't have to study. I don't have to do anything. I just show up and just talk out of my ass, and then people are just like, he's so funny. Good for him. Yeah, he's got a great view on basketball.
We needed to bring quarters.
Yeah, quarters. Yeah.
So we put some quarter in you, and you keep on running.
And that's what the alcohol typically is the quarter, right? As soon as you put it in me, I'm fine. And Allie tells me to shut up most of the time.
Yeah. Real quick, one more question before we wrap this up. I'm just curious, especially because Richard's on his way out of the NBA.
Thanks, Al.
At some point in time.
At some point.
Hence why he's doing this podcast. But I also learned a story that Richard wasn't very good to the media when...
Oh, I did want to ask you. Sorry.
Yeah,
Allie's bringing this up, but speaking of the Nets, and obviously we're around... How did you treat the media early on in your career?
I am offended.
As like a rookie, like back in 2002, back in 2003.
I was mean to our media director. I was mean to him.
Here's the thing. I actually
Gary Sussman.
Maybe that's where I heard the stories from.
I was very mean to Gary Sussman. So he used to have a suit on all the time, and I used to just come up from behind him and pull up the back of his shirt. But I used to do it at the worst time, like right before someone got traded, and he's stressed about a press conference, and I'd see him and just pull out his shirt, and it would just start cussing at me. But I was 22, and I thought it was hilarious. So, no, but one of the things that I learned very, very quickly about the New York media is the Knicks sucked. Well, I guess the Knicks were the Knicks, and we were going through a very, very good phase. Like, we went to the playoffs my first 6 years. We went to the finals twice, won the division 4 times. No one cares, before Rod Thorne broke it up. But we. Because the Knicks didn't have a lot of stuff there, I think everyone was kind of probing our team for information, for gossip, because that was where the stories were. And so you would have this was before the internet. This was not before the internet, but before there was like so much coverage everywhere online. It was before social media. So everything, we used to get that stack of papers that was like this, that had all of the, I know I'm talking. I'm telling a story, Brett.
No,
Come on.
she said quick answer.
Okay. I didn't like the media very much because they always try to start stuff.
Do you think they really were trying to start stuff, or you just thought that?
New York media?
The New York media, yes. Well, I just think that it was so competitive between the Star Ledger, the New York Times, the Post, the Daily News. They were so competitive for stories that I think at times they were trying to not start stuff, but they were just trying to pry and trying to find stuff. And then you had the whole headline thing. Well, I didn't write the headline. That was my editor. And it's like, but still, like, what your story is not the same as what your headline is. And it's like the headline is what would get people to pick up a paper or click on something. And that type of stuff, I didn't really have a good relationship with people that would do that.
And now we can't get you off our screen.
No.
Or off the mic. But with that said, for you two especially, we were talking to Tim Duncan on an episode, and he told us that he didn't like to do media as well. And so he had a 10-second rule. So he would come out to his locker, he would count to 10, and if no one came to him in that time, he was done. He wasn't doing media. Did you guys enjoy the media? Did you have anything like that where you...
Yeah, no, theater arts major, went to UCLA, covered extensively by the media at that time. I think I was on the all-interview team the first 3 or 4 years in the league, so I had a pretty good relationship with the media until they started to get in my business a little too deep.
No, you can get into it, man. What about you? You just seem like your warm personality.
I was just a regular Stanford kid. Nobody would talk to me. I wasn't the man on the team. You already said it. I played on multiple. I like how you put that. I got to remember how you said it, because usually they just say play for a lot of teams. Yeah. But you put it eloquently earlier about me playing for 9 teams in 12 years. And so that was, I want to figure that out. But if you wanted to ask me a question, I was looking for people to ask questions. The mic right there over at Marques, I'm like, you can ask me too. So I didn't run. I was trying to be as... Ron Tillery, who is our beat guy now, said that I was an asshole, but I always felt like I was nice to people. But in being little, you got to have a little asshole in you if you're going to be successful. So.
I think that's a perfect way to end.
Yeah, I think it is.
No more wine for me.
This is the wine. Yeah.
For Marques, Brevin, Sarah, Richard Jefferson, I'm your host, Allie.
All right.
Road Trippin fans, don't forget, we are working with a t-shirt company that you may have seen around, Homage. They're the ones that are responsible for LeBron's Ultimate Warrior shirt and many of the college designs you see on tees. As they pay homage to great moments in sports and inspiring stories, go check out their NBA Jam tees at homage.com. You're sure to be inspired and will get a kick out of their special design of Richard and Channing. Get them while they're still in stock at homage.com.